The beloved Canadian singer-songwriter Gordon Lightfoot departed his one wild and precious life on May the 1st this year. He was 84 years old. His very well-known song, Early Morning Rain, was written in 1964, just after my life began. As I grew up, the song was an almost continual presence, not only on the radio, but at Girl Guide camp, in the basement rec rooms of my friends, and virtually everywhere a guitar was played. The song was popular not only because of its catchy melody and easy-to-play chords. Early Morning Rain spoke to the universal human longing we so often feel to be somewhere where we're not. The nagging feeling that we should be somewhere on our way to somewhere different, yet we are stuck here on the ground. The song's storyline also alluded to the ways we sometimes look for escape and fulfillment through externals, including alcohol and sex. In a line that sounds quaint today and perhaps indeed inappropriate, Lightfoot sang, "The liquor tasted good and the women all were fast." I adapted that lyric when I learned it at age 12. But the song speaks of the heady excitement of the night before, followed by the cold rain of the morning after. In the sober reality of the light of day, the narrator sings, "This old airport's got me down. It's no earthly good to me, 'cause I'm stuck here on the ground, cold and drunk as I can be. You can't jump a jet plane like you can a freight train, so I'd best be on my way in the early morning rain." We'll have a chance to sing the song together a bit later. Now, Gordon Lightfoot grew up in Orillia and later lived in Toronto's Rosedale neighborhood. He didn't jump freight trains, and neither do we, and of course songs need not be autobiographical. But through story and metaphor, songs often tap into human experiences we all share. We've probably all felt the longing to escape at times, along with the grudging acceptance that we are stuck here in the here and now, whether we like it or not. The Irish poet Padraig Ó Tuama put it very well. There are the places you wish to go. There are the places you desperately wish you never left. There are the places you imagine you should be. And there is the place called here. It may be significant, too, that Gordon Lightfoot wrote Early Morning Rain when he was living in Los Angeles and looking after his 5-month-old son. It's said that he put the baby down for a nap in his crib, thinking, "I'm going to write myself a tune." As anyone who's been at home with a baby remembers, there are many hours when we might feel stuck, when we might long for a life that is larger and more expansive. By writing the song, Gordon Lightfoot brought that longing into consciousness. It would have been valuable, even if it were only for him. But as it turned out, of course, the song provided a commentary for many people's lives, with all the arrivals and departures and longings that every life contains. Early Morning Rain is, of course, a pop song that emerged in our primarily secular culture. There's nothing religious about it, but the longing to go where the morning rain don't fall and the sun always shines, the wish that we could rise above the clouds of our human limitations, well, this is a familiar spiritual or even religious theme, one that connects us with other people in all times and places. It's a theme that leads us into deeper exploration of what it means to be human and how we are called by life, God, or spirit into deeper engagement with the world. As we wonder upon such questions as, what is calling me at this stage in my life? Or, what is this restlessness in me? We may be led more surely toward our soul's truthfulness and our ability to live and love well, wherever we happen to be. We've heard a few examples today of the poetry of Rumi, the Sufi poet who lived in the 12th century. He once said, "That which you are seeking is ever seeking after thee." That which you are seeking is ever seeking after thee. That is to say, The divine longing that calls us beyond ourselves is always meeting us exactly where we are. We may think that we're arriving and departing, and in many ways in this material world, of course we are. Yet in the process of all our arrivals and departures, there may also be a place of stillness, or even peace. In her poem, The Summer Day, where she affirms the value of going nowhere in particular, Mary Oliver called it the sense of being idle and blessed. There's a poem we often use in the winter solstice service here at First. Right now, we are just a few days past the summer solstice, the point at which daylight and darkness are in perfect balance before the days become shorter again. It's interesting to think back to the winter solstice when we gathered to celebrate the return of the sun. These are words from the Irish poet T.S. Eliot, and we often have included them in our winter solstice service. At the still point of the turning world, neither flesh nor fleshless, neither from nor towards, at the still point, there the dance is. But neither arrest nor movement, and do not call it fixity where past and future are gathered, neither movement from nor towards, neither ascent nor decline, except for the point, the still point, there would be no dance, and there is only the dance. In 2009, the writer Alain de Botton was given the incredible job of writer-in-residence at the Heathrow Airport in London, England. This vantage point allowed him to observe the dance of human comings and goings in ways that were particularly meaningful. In a passage that echoes the familiar Zen wisdom, "Wherever you go, there you are," de Botton writes, "As David lifted a suitcase onto the conveyor belt, he came to an unexpected and troubling realization that he was bringing himself with him on his holiday. Whatever the qualities of the Demetra residence, his destination, they were going to be critically undermined by the fact that he would be in the villa as well." De Botton also observes that travel agents would be wiser to ask us what we hope to change about our lives, rather than simply where we wish to go. He also highlights what I have long felt to be one of the most moving theaters of human experiences, the airport's arrivals and departures lounge. As someone who left home to study at university and then spent the next 30 years flying home to see my parents, I witnessed and experienced arrivals and departures many times. The emotional parting at the departures gate, feeling guilty about having left home in the first place, and then turning to wave goodbye at the last possible second after passing through security. Then, months later, on the other side, joyfully reuniting, riding down the arrivals escalator, spotting my parents waiting for me, and seeing which of my fellow passengers matched up with people waiting for them. Needless to say, not everyone is met at the airport with a welcoming embrace, but the longing to be met with such a welcome may be a universal human experience. As Alain de Botton puts it, even if our loved ones have assured us that they will be busy at work, even if they told us they hated us for going traveling in the first place, even if they left us last June or died 12.5 years ago, it is impossible not to experience a shiver of a sense that they may have come along anyway, just to surprise us and make us feel special. Summer is often a time of arrivals and departures, though many of us are now intentionally reducing our air travel as its harmful impact on the earth is now understood. Here at First Unitarian, we've recently witnessed the departure of Reverend Sean Newton Gauthier as he has moved across the country. Meanwhile, I will be departing from parish ministry in the fall, but remaining, as far as I know, in the same geographical area where I will be singing and guest preaching. There have been many arrivals and departures in my life. Many times, in fact, when I think I've taken what appeared to be a wrong turn that eventually did lead to where I needed to be. Throughout all the comings and goings, I have tried, though inconsistently, of course, to maintain an awareness of what T.S. Eliot called the still point, the homing center that I find upon quiet reflection that guides me toward a life of meaning. This summer, we can take a bit of time in many of our services to invite some reflection on the day's themes and interact with each other as we are gathering here online. So let's do that now. I invite you to take a minute or so to jot down or simply reflect on any significant arrivals or departures in your life. Times when you may have arrived at something or somewhere important. Times when a particular person arrived and made a difference in your life. You may also reflect on departures that have been significant, either your own or someone else's, and perhaps what carried you through those departures. Take a minute or so now, as Michelle offers a musical interlude, to think about or jot down a few meaningful arrivals and or departures. Put them in the chat if you wish, and then I will lift up some of them in a few minutes. So this is something we can continue to reflect on your own, but thank you so much for your reflections today. This allows us to connect with each other in this online way, which is a little bit different, and that we will continue through the summer. In the reading The Guest House, Rumi recommends that we do something completely counterintuitive. And I do notice that most of the arrivals that are noted today are joyful ones, generally speaking. But of course, some arrivals or departures are unwelcome. In that poem, The Guest House, Rumi suggests that we welcome the arrival of all who enter the house of our life, all the unwanted guests of difficult emotions, painful experiences, unexpected events that divert us from our ego's cherished itineraries. These arrivals, he tells us, are in fact guides from beyond, teachers that assist us in growing in the directions that we are meant to grow. And indeed, we can see from many of the comments in the chat that times of arrivals and departures can be difficult, they can be painful, they can be a struggle, and at the same time, they are the invitation for us to expand in our lives, to understand ourselves better, to grow in compassion for all of the other people who are also going through loss and change. Could it be possible that the unwanted arrivals carry wisdom with them, or that a departure was necessary in order for something new to arrive? I hear all of the possibilities in these reflections that you've offered today, and in all of the ways that our arrivals and departures are carrying First Unitarian to a new place.